Oh boy, I get to use actual gel, one of the few gel phrases that we really know, which is vaporous dangerous crones, which is a warning that Argonians give for wisps and the wisp mothers that summon them. So she wants to go straight through, and he is saying to her in gel, we could, but if the mother wisp is in there, we won't survive. And this is one of those things where obviously we could easily cut through all of these, these mobs, but you want to make things a little more exciting for the roleplay, so you always, most of the time, try to make things more challenging than they actually are. This isn't like a tabletop game where, um, the environment is actually a challenge, especially with 4 people. She's translating for them, and he says, if things get bad, I'm out. And she says, we don't want to conjure the mother wisp by killing all of her children. And she says, I'll protect you too. And he mutters something to himself. Yeah, we're personal now, eyes, seeing as I've had your finger in your mouth. In my mouth, I won't let anything kill you. Oh, how sweet. So he says there's a hackwing, which is I just now made up a word for it, and then he dives under this tree, which will say that we're in there because we can't actually go in there. So there's no hackwings in game, but it's fun to say there's something terrible up in the air coming for us and we have to hide. And if anybody emotes anything where they might be moving too much, it'll hear us. So this is one of those things where in a tabletop game you would probably roll for stealth. In an MMO game it's a little more freeform. If somebody emotes that their character hiccups or shifts too much or something like that, then I might have it see us. But otherwise, it'll just pass by and be an interesting, almost encounter. And so the creature passes, Swamp Eyes slaps Kennex on the arm and goes, "Wah, wah, wah." What was that, Swamp Eyes? Let's see, what the fuck did I call it? What did I call it? Skethek. Skethek. It's him trying to pronounce Hackwing in a normal voice. He even forgets to be surly and smiles a little. Aww. Not so bad for Knife Ear. Can even hide from Skethek. Which I'm sure at some point in my years of Argonian roleplay I have come up with a different name for Hackwings. But the great thing about Argonians is that their language is just so weird that it's totally different for every Argonian. They actually almost have their own unique dialogue. Their own unique dialect for each individual and for each tribe. So this is one of those things where he's going up this hill, and it should be super easy for him because he's an Argonian, but for them it's difficult. That's one of the best parts of role-playing as an Argonian in Black Marsh, is that you get to be the dude that understands what's going on while everybody else is having trouble. Obviously, Cial has spent a lot of time in Black Marsh, so she won't have as much trouble. So they see the camp up ahead. So he's saying, there's the camp up ahead, that's where the dry brains are, which is what he called these hunters, who they're trying to steal from the dead corpses. He turns to Cial and rasps. Skeh. Thuk. Zook. So he says to her, if they aren't dead, do we try to steal from them anyway? And she smirks, of course. So Kenix wants to know what race these people are. Cial thinks that we should steal from them no matter who they are. But to Kenix, it matters. Oh, so apparently if it's Dunmer and a Nord, Enwa or Enwa. Sweet. So from here it appears that the camp is lifeless, but that may not be the case. And then, of course, the orc runs in wildly. So she runs in screaming, "Ah!" And they're both like, "Really?" And then she holds her mace up high looking for the first thing moving to hit. And Kenix says, "You're the reason we can't have nice things." There doesn't seem to be much in the camp. It's deserted but relatively well stocked. I think I said stoked. Well, something rotting. So as the women go down south, they find the torn asunder body of a dead Dunmer. The bottom half of his body is completely missing. So they found a few bodies and a key on one of the bodies. They all seem to be wearing Hualu colors, and Kenix found a key and says, has anybody found a chest that looks like it might fit this? And Swamp Eyes holds his hand out for the key. And she notices something moving in the water to the south. He won't give the key. So, there's something coming from the south, and so y'all can hear it coming up, and meanwhile they have found a tiny lockbox and have used the key, and it has opened. And the Lamia are coming out of the water. And he runs. Don't forget rubies! So, Kenix went back to help the orc. And she says, it's good to know that you care. And he says, shut up, Volyi. You're decent with a weapon. I'd hate to lose you and find another of similar adequacy. She says, I think I'm winning him over. And Swamp Eyes says, yes, mating soon. There's a gentle red glow coming from the bag. There seem to be dozens of tiny red objects within. But some of the tiny red objects begin to squirm within the bag. Rubies don't squirm. So, Swamp Eyes is super stoked, and he reaches into the squirming bag and pulls one out and eats it, and it is a tiny red torch bug. And he says to the Bosmer, the rarest and most spicy of torch bugs. And she's laughing very hard as Kennick says, not ruby stones. What are these? They had better be worth something. Bugs? We just went through all this for bugs? Kennick's eyes narrow, a flicker of old, deeply hidden hatred burn there, and with that, so does his hands, the flame magicka burning brightly in the same hand he holds the bag in. Uh-oh, did he just burn the torch bugs? So, he just burned the bag of bugs. And he is getting cursed out. Mammal liquor! Well, yes, as often as I can. So help me by the three, if you swing that oversized log at me, I'm going to take that stick and shove it so far up your ass people will worship you for the next 200 years as the first Argonian history hybrid. Oh, that's good. So she says in jail, enough, stand down. They thought, even I thought, it was jewels, not bugs. Stop and apologize. So he says, I'll stand down if he pays me for my share of the torch bugs. The Bosmer is trying to smooth things over, and she's saying that she's basically going to pay everybody for their trouble. And Swamp Eye says, you better, I have friends in Black Marsh. So she said, it'll take me a day to find them, I will pay you. And then she throws coins at her friends. Oh, look at that. Swamp Eye should have been more clear, and Dryskin should have asked more questions. We are both wiser. Oh, it's good to have somebody with a level head. Normally I'm playing the character with the level head, but as a quest giver type, you kind of leave that up to the characters. And then he heads off.
Oh, that was fantastic.
How was that?
That's fine.
That was so much fun, guys. Oh, man.
And for future story, you can assume she does eventually get them to him.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I figured she would. She seems like a pretty reasonable person.
Personally, right now she's muttering about red torch bugs and saying they do call them rubies, and she completely forgot that.
Oh, man, that was so much fun.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Good, I'm glad you guys liked it. I loved sticking his finger in the mouth. That was so much fun.
That's gonna
Molly may stab him the next time.
Yeah.
She
That's gonna
that
haunt
was
Nyx for a long
fantastic.
time too. Trust me, she's not